Our speaker is Walter Kevin Sánchez, and he is a Guatemalan genealogical researcher with a bachelor's in international relations, and he's currently pursuing an MBA. Collaborating with Ancestry Pro Genealogists, he conducts fieldwork in various archives across Guatemala and certified as a family history researcher from Brigham Young University-Idaho. He also serves as an online Latin America research specialist for FamilySearch Library.
Thank you everyone for being here. I really appreciate your time and effort to learn more about the resources that are available in Central America, specifically in Guatemala. I have a lot of experience doing research here in Central America, but especially in the region where I live, visiting many different archives like the Archivo General de Centroamérica, Archivo Histórico Arquidiocesano, y el Archivo General de Protocolos. To start with this presentation, I want to share my contacts in like the email, website, and LinkedIn pages where you can find me, and feel free to contact me if you have any other question that we can't respond during this webinar. Well, so the first part of this presentation, we need to understand the historical context. It is necessary not only to understand what records we have available to do the research, but also to understand how our family, or why our family came to the region and why they moved from one place to another. Historical context is always necessary to understand our families and the genealogical research. Also, to start with Central America, it is necessary to say that we all share our same past. We were a colony from Spain. We were part of the Viceroyalty of Nueva España. And then we formed part of 5 republics that made the República Federal de Centroamérica, or Federal Republic of Central America, after the colonial period and after the independence in 1821. With the arrival of the Spaniards, religious figures began to perform sacraments and recorded them in books, and the books were kept in chapels, parishes, and also cathedrals. Also, it is necessary to say that the sacraments were usually registered in separate books like baptism, marriages, marriage investigation files, burials, confirmations, and so on. The thing here is that some books were only for indigenous people and mixed people, and some other books were only for Spaniards. So we can see here the difference between the different classes in the society at that time. Also, we need to understand that at the end of the 1800s, a separation was performed between the state and also the church. We see here the liberalism reform that was at the end of the 19th century. And at this point, around 1880, the civil registration started to work and to function in the region. And some other records were kept at the beginning of that time. For example, birth, death, marriage, naturalizations, and any other and some other records that are now available online and physically in the many different archives. And in the picture, we can see a monument to the liberalism period that is right here in the Guatemala city capital. Then to continue, it is necessary to also mention that we can find mainly civil and parish records in Central America. And for example, in Guatemala, the civil registration started in 1877. And we can see records from that time until nowadays. In El Salvador, it started in 1879. In Honduras, 1881. Nicaragua, 1879. And Costa Rica, we can see records in FamilySearch from 1888. Here I have a copy or an image of the records that we can see in a civil registration office. This is the birth record of all of these people right here. Additionally, we can find ecclesiastical records like baptisms, confirmations, marriages, burials. And in the image, it is a copy of a marriage from one of the parishes here in Guatemala. And we can see records like this while doing the research on the parishes records. And in Guatemala, we can see records from 1581, in El Salvador, 1655, Honduras, 1633, Nicaragua, 1740, and Costa Rica, 1595. It is necessary to understand where they started and how they started to record the record, this kind of records and sacrament events, because not in all of the parishes the records started at that time. So for example, in most of the records in Guatemala and Central America, started to keep books in about 1740, 1780. In other parishes, we can find also the books from 1880, for example. So we will need to understand and learn a little bit about the parishes to then understand when the records started. But these dates are the eldest ones. Main challenges for the genealogical research in Central America. First, we can find that some of the books were stolen, or also they were not kept in an adequate place. For example, some of these books have been destroyed by the time, by the climate, and also by the conflicts. And here I want to share two experiences that I have had. One of them was found in a book, Immigrant, from Marcos Antil. This is the name of the book. Marcos is relating his story in the town where he lived in Guatemala. He is saying that his town was affected by war in the 1870s and 1880s. The thing here is that his dad, Marcos as well, was advised by someone that was his friend, and he said that the military was around the town and was ready to burn the court, the municipality, and also the church records. So he was there only to advise him to take care and to take care of his family. And Marcos said that his father advised to the municipality authorities, and additionally they built a different wall between the or inside the court office, where all the archival documents were held. So during the night, he said that the military came to the town and they started to burn all the buildings that they said they were going to burn: the court, the municipality, and the church. And the thing here is that after all of this happened, they went to the court where they built the wall, and then they found that all the documents they kept there and saved them during that time were safeguarded. And with this story, we can see that there are some people during the history that has been hero to keep and preserve the records for nowadays. Additionally, another story I wanted to share is that 2 weeks ago, I went to El Salvador to do some research, and I went to the diocese of San Miguel, Diocese of San Miguel, and there I was looking for a marriage and for a family that their records were not online, and also they were difficult to trace, you know. And I went there and requested to the secretary of the office and diocese to allow me to get the records. And the secretary told me that this was a closed archive and only the chancellor or her had access to the documents. And she said that I couldn't get access to them, so I needed to wait until they could review or give any response to my request. Sometimes it's hard to do research here in Guatemala and Central America because we don't have access to all of those archives because they are closed or because they no longer exist to the public. Starting with archives. This is one of my favorites. This is the General Archive of Central America, o Archivo General de Centroamérica. Enrique Gordillo, which is cited right here, says that this is the most important archive in Central America because it has documents and information from the colonial period from all over the region. So that being said, we can find documents from El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, and also Chiapas in Mexico, which was part of the former Republic of Guatemala. This is located in the 4th Avenue 7-41, Zone 1. If you know a little bit about Guatemala City, it is right next to the Central Park here in Guatemala. And to attend, you don't need to make any appointment. However, you will need to call before attending just to make sure that they are operating on the day you are going to visit. This General Archive also have some different departments. One of them is the magazines and periodical archive, and also the archive that contains all the collections that we're going to see next. What collections can we see in this archive? For example, we can find blood purity records. These records were presented or requested when someone wanted to study in a college or university, but also when someone wanted to become a politician. They needed to present that they were Spaniards and also that they were Catholic. Additionally, we can find on these records, for example, family trees or genealogies that are presented on the records. The index of notarial records, this helps us a lot also to understand and to get information about wills, sellings, and also probate records that were held in and that were written by the lawyers during the colonial period. In the wills, we can find information related to the whole family, for example, the places where they were from, and also the places where they held any estate. And the land and properties collection has information about lands and also names of the landowners, and also about the limits between different lands or fincas, how they are called right here. And finally, we can find also census and rolls. These kind of census are different from the ones that kept the Catholic Church, because these ones were made by order of the king and also viceroyalty of Nueva España. And right here we have all the links to those records that you can access and see online on FamilySearch. Other records are the Foreign Affairs section. Right here we have a little bit disorganized section of Foreign Affairs. The other day I was looking for a immigrant list or passenger list about, I was looking for a person that came about 1879 to Guatemala from Italy. We have a lot of immigrants in Guatemala from Italy, Germany, Spain, Portugal, and Belgium as well. But the record I was specifically looking for was from Italy, the passenger list. However, because it was disorganized, I couldn't get that specific record I was looking for, because it is a huge collection. And they have an index, but the index is not that accurate, so I couldn't get that information. But this is an interesting collection. I could find some other photographies of people that was doing some request for getting passports, and also information from communications from one country to another. And also the collection, the colonial section, that is a huge collection. It contains information for the governmental communications, decrees, and all other information related to the government. This is a very interesting collection. And on the left, we can see the Pardo catalog, card catalog. It has an index of all of the records the archive has. For example, it has an alphabetical index. And if you're looking for a specific person, you can look through the alphabetical index by the last name, and then you will be able to find all the documents related to the last name that they have. On the right, we can see how this card catalog is presented. This is a photo from the online catalog that is actually only available in the archive. On the next, on this slide, I present how to fill and how to request a document from this section. For example, we have Celedón de Berriondo. This is the main name of the person I was looking for. And to request this document, to review it, I needed to put the signature, that was this one, A1.20, then the expedient or file, 9986, the legajo, again, the file number, which was 1507, and the page number, which was 82. So in this way, you need to fill out these kind of request cards so they can provide you with the information you are looking for. This is a very interesting way to look for these documents. If you don't remember at the time of your visit, they are going to help you providing you with the right request paper and with the information you need to fill on it, so they can provide you with the right document. You are allowed to review at least, or a maximum, I mean, of 7 documents or records per visit. Here is a photo that I took of my visit to the CIRMA. CIRMA is el Centro de Investigaciones Regionales de Mesoamérica. And this is a very, very interesting place. As far as I know, this was founded in 1985. And it has an archive, a library, and also a FamilySearch authorized center that is right there in the building. This is located in Antigua, Guatemala, and you can visit it Monday through Friday from 9:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And if you want to visit, for example, the photo library or archive, you will need to make an appointment. And if you want to use the other services they provide, you just need to go during this time frame. I put right here the link to the website, where you will be able to find all the collections and all the information and books that they have in the library. Some of them are related specific to genealogy, but also they have books for history that will help you to build your family history and genealogy as well. The photo library is a huge collection that I think you will enjoy for sure. They have photos from the 1880s to nowadays, and these are very interesting pictures that you will need to see. The civil records, as you can see right here, we have the links to the civil registration offices for each country in Central America. However, on the right side of the slide, we have a civil registration record, and this is how it looks like. For example, right here we have the name of the main person, but additionally we can find the name of the parents and the name of the grandparents of the person. This helps us a lot to trace any lineage and any family. This is a very interesting record to use. You can find many different collections from the Civil Registration Office in FamilySearch. For example, in El Salvador and also in Honduras, as far as I know, FamilySearch is doing a great job digitizing all of the records from the beginning to nowadays. So in a couple of months, we will be able to see released all of these images on FamilySearch. For Guatemala, we have most of the records already digitized. As well for Costa Rica, and for Nicaragua, we don't have too much information available on FamilySearch. So another archive that is relevant for this research is the Archivo Histórico Arquidiocesano de Guatemala, or Archdiocesan Archive of Guatemala. This is a very interesting place to do research. This place helps us to safeguard all the information that is related to the church and to the life before the colonial period. This is a very interesting place to start. We are going to see on the next slide what can we find. However, this is located right next to the main cathedral here in Guatemala. You will need to make an appointment before attending to the archive, and they are going to provide with all the information that they have. And for example, if you want to take a picture, you will need to pay 5 quetzales, less than $1. And also, if you want a certificate, you will need to pay for the amount of 40 Qs, which is around $5. What can we find in this archive? For example, we can find marriage investigation files or dispensations, marriage dispensations. And I do have a lot of experience on this archive, and I've been doing research page by page from the files that they have until find any specific record. It is very interesting to be there and to do the research there. The people is very nice, and they will help you to get the information that you are looking for. But mainly you will find sacramental books like baptisms, birth, marriages, and burials. Actually, this archive has the first book that was from El Sagrario, the main parish in Antigua Guatemala. This is the first book that was kept from the colonial period in the region. So they keep this important book. Additionally, they have around 32,000 marriage dispensations from Guatemala, Chiapas, El Salvador, and Honduras. And for example, in FamilySearch, we can find many different parish records from 1581 to 1977, and also marriage investigation files or dispensations from 1649 and 1817. If you don't find the marriage dispensation for your family or person you are looking for online, for sure it's going to be in the physical archive. So you will need to make arrangements to visit it. As I was saying before about appointments, you will need to provide them with the name of the main person, then the parish priest if known, additionally the parish name, and also the range of years you are looking for. This information, it's going to help them to look through their database about what records they have available and if they have the record that you are looking for specifically. And as I said before, you will need to make an appointment before visiting the. Then we can find the General Protocol Archive or Archivo General de Protocolos. This archive has information related to lawyers and the books that they held. For example, we can find probate records, wills, and also selling records of lands or any other type of sellings like properties. This is located in the basement of the Tower of Courts in the downtown of Guatemala City, as well as the other archives. And here you don't need to get an appointment before visiting. However, there is a process. For example, you will need to get a death certificate first before attending to the archive. With this death certificate, they are going to prove that the person you are looking for is already dead, and they are going to provide you access after paying a fee of 5 Qs to review the books that are related to each of the lawyers that they have there. They have books of lawyers from 1880 until nowadays, but only for those lawyers that already passed. And if you find the will or the selling of the property or the document you are looking for, you will need to pay a fee for getting a certificate copy of the document that you are looking for. Right here on the right side, I have a copy of a document that I obtained from this archive, and this is a legal copy, so you can use it for any of the legal processes if needed. The National Newspaper Library. This is a place that I really enjoy attending to. It has information from around 1844 until nowadays. We are going to see in the next slide what information can we find, but this is a pretty interesting place to visit. This is located as well in the downtown of Guatemala City, inside the National Library building. This is open from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. from Monday through Friday. And to attend to this library, you don't need to make any appointment, but as suggested before, you will need to call just to make sure that they are working on the day you are going to visit. What information can we find? For example, on the image, we can see a section that was called Personales y Sociales, or Person in Society. It has information about obituaries, marriages, baptisms, or any kind of festivity that needed to be announced to the public in the newspaper. We can find information from El Imparcial. This was a newspaper that was published from 1922 until 1985, or the Diario de Centroamérica informative section. El Diario de Centroamérica is a very interesting resource to do research because it started in 1881, but also it contains information, as I said before, obituaries, marriages, and baptism or birth celebrations. The thing that I really enjoy by looking through these newspapers is looking and watching at those pictures that they have. For example, the other day I found a picture interesting for one of my ancestors, and I really loved watching the picture there. I spent some time looking for that, but I was happy to find it in a newspaper. So some other newspapers that you can find right here is Prensa Libre, La Hora, en La República. These newspapers also had information related to the society and people that live in Guatemala. This is a very interesting resource to use while doing and building your family history as well. Books. There are a lot of books that has been written in Guatemala and Central America. I'm going to mention some of them. For example, we find Historia de los Altos a través de los ayuntamientos de Quetzaltenango desde 1807 a 1931. This is 4 books. This is a very interesting book because it has information related to the civil life and about events and reunions that the municipality of Quetzaltenango, which was the western most important city in Guatemala, had. You can find information, for example, of permission to build a house or a permission to sell a land, or also you can find when the municipality and the people, the mayor approved to, for example, celebrate any festivity or holiday in the region. This is a very interesting book because it has an alphabetical index that you can use to find easily any of the relatives that you might be looking for. Then we have Relaciones Geográficas e Históricas del del siglo XVIII del Reino de Guatemala. This book was written by Jorge Luján Muñoz, and it has information and census information about 1840 in Guatemala and in El Salvador. This helps us a lot to understand how the people lived during this time, but also to complete families and to look for families that were presented in the census that were at that time, 1740. This is the time and period where you can find information right here. Additionally, we have Apuntes para la genealogía de los orígenes de la familia Vicente Urbaneja. This is a book, this book right here. This is a book that was written by a friend of mine. It has around 25,000 names on it. And it is about a genealogy that was started here in Guatemala, but that trace their lineage to Spain. So you will find a lot of names and last names from Guatemala and Spain, from Vizcaya, Burgos, Salamanca, on this book. This is available for free on FamilySearch. Then we found, for example, la familia Palma, Genealogía, Heráldica, Historia. This was written by Susana Isabel Palma, another friend of mine. It has a lot of information about the family Palma in Guatemala and in the region. Terra Mica is another book that is related to Italians in Guatemala. You will find pictures and also information about when they arrived to the different places and cities in the region. Some other books that we can find, for example, La Mies es Abundante. This is a huge collection that was written by Ricardo Terga Cintrón, el padre Ricardo Terga. He's a historian, but also he loved to write about Guatemala, and then he spent some time of his ecclesiastical life writing some books about the Spaniards and Ladinos or mestizos that arrived to Guatemala and its different regions. For example, we can find a different book from Chiquimula, Jutiapa, also for Las Verapaces, and Occidente, which is the western part of Guatemala. Some other books that we can find on FamilySearch, and this is the most important, La Mies es Abundante, España en la ciudad de Santiago de Guatemala. It has information from baptism books, marriages, burials, census, and many other resources that he used, the Padre Terga, to build this book. It has around 1,200 pages, but it is very interesting because it mentioned people from the beginning of the colonial period until the end of the 1800s in Guatemala, and especially in La Antigua Guatemala, which was the former capital of the city, of the country. This is available also on FamilySearch. Then el Monterroso, Origen del Apellido y Ascendencia. This is also available in FamilySearch related to Monterroso family. And then the extractos de escrituras públicas. We were mentioning about lawyers and in the General Archive, and also in the General Archive of Protocolos. Juan Jose Falla did a great job extracting the main information from all of the files that the lawyers did on their books from the beginning of the colonial period until the end of the 1800s. It has many different books. It goes from the 1 to the 16 actually books. You can find all of this information right here by clicking on this link. And it also has a alphabetical index, or because they are already online, you can perform a search through the PDF to locate any of the people, places, and events that you might be looking for. Cemeteries is a great resource to do research in Central America. And the thing here is because sometimes you can't find any information about your relatives on the civil registration or the parish records. But if you look in a cemetery where the oral history tells you that your family is buried, for sure you are going to find the people you are looking for, because the people was used to stay and to live in the same town. So it's going to be easy if you have a person that is from the same town and for any town in the region. Additionally, some of the cemeteries did not keep records, so you will need to walk around the cemeteries, but be careful because not all of them are safe places to walk. So here are two places, two online resources that you can use to do the research. They have pictures of some portions of the main cemeteries in Guatemala and in the region. Finally, I would like to say that it is necessary to sometimes collaborate and do networking to get the information you are looking for. I can recommend you to join to the many different organizations and Facebook pages. I'm going to share right here what I found for the region, and you can get and you can know more about your family by just posting any question, and the people over there on this group will help you for sure to find the information you are looking for. In Guatemala, we have a very special group, Geneahuate. In El Salvador, Genealogía Salvadoreña as well. And in the other countries, you can find, for example, academies or associations of genealogy. Then, as recommendations, I would say that first, you will need to understand the historical context to understand what it is available for the region you are looking for. Then, please learn what sources are available online and in archives to make easier the process to look for the family or the person you're looking for. Additionally, participate in help groups or communities. As I was saying before, they are going to for sure help you to understand more about the region, the history, but also to guide you, and if possible, to connect with other relatives that are looking for the same person. And remember, please, to cite all your sources. This is going to help other people to understand and to know where you got the information, and they will be able to have access to the same records as well in the future. And finally, if you have any question, please let me know. I think we are going to have some brief time to answer questions, but if we can't answer yours, please reach me out and I'd be glad to answer of them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. We do have some questions for you. And the first one is in the General Archive of Central America. So there's a max of being able to view 7 records per visit. Is there a cost to view the records or to copy them?
To view the records, no, you don't have to pay anything. However, if you want to take any picture of if you want a copy of the record, you will need to pay a fee. For example, for pictures, the fee is 30Q, around $4. And for the copies, each copy is 10 Qs, around $1.20.
Someone is asking, were Justice of the Peace records kept in the early 1850s? My husband's second great-grandparents were married in 1853 on the border between Costa Rica and Nicaragua.
Well, it's kind of hard to trace the family in Nicaragua because not all of the records were digitized or are available. The thing here is in the region, a lot of conflicts and war happened during the 1800s. So some buildings and some archives were burned out, and it's kind of hard to look for those records. As far as I know, there is an association in Costa Rica where you can get more information about it. You can contact them, and probably they might have already done that research, or they might help you with more information about the specific place you are looking for. Or in Nicaragua, the Diocese of Granada and León might have some records if you if this was part of the diocese. But if you have any question, just write me and I'm going to share the link to the San Jose, I meant to the León and Granada diocese. So you can access easily to them.
Another question that we have is somebody's asking about research strategies that you might have or that you might suggest for researching Mayan indigenous family history in Central America.
Look, the first thing I would suggest is to understand what records are available. For example, in Guatemala, we have a lot of indigenous books that were that are held in the parishes and that are actually digitized. So you can access to those records. It is necessary to look for the indios, the word indios, or yeah, maybe that's the main word you will need to use to locate the books while looking for the specific parish. Because as in the beginning of the presentation, the priest kept 2 types of records, one for the indigenous people and Ladinos or mestizos, and one for the Spaniards. So in some cases, it's going to be easy to look for them through the word Indios at the end or the beginning of the title of the book. And also look for books. For example, in Guatemala, we have some books related to El Señorío de Sololá. El Popol Vuh, or all other books like For Cachiqueles, and that has information about this kind of for these people, for indigenous people.
Wondering how often censuses are taken in Guatemala, and what is the most recent census that's available on FamilySearch?
For Guatemala City, the most recent one is 1877.
Okay.
However, the census online are not available. I mean, the census that were made in Guatemala are not available online for the 1900s because they are private and sensitive still. I've seen some books on the FamilySearch Library. However, they are not available online. But if you want to look for the parish records or census, I remember the last one that was performed was in 1821. 1821 in all of the region, because 1821 was the year of the independence, and they wanted to know how many people and what people was part of the republic or federation, I mean. And other census records we can find, for example, 1740, 1787, 1787, 97, 1813, and also 1821. And if you are looking for specific regions, maybe you will probably find for most recent census like 1834, 1844, or even 1877. But yes, these are all of the census available. There are not too much, but there are for many people and for many locations around the country.
We appreciate you presenting tonight, and thank you for all of the great information you shared. And I want to thank everybody who attended as well. So if you have any questions or if you would like a copy of the chat, please send us an email at genealogy@acpl.info and we'll get that to you.